Deepfakes. Okay, we're going to talk about 3 charges in the Eastern District today. The first of which is the deepfakes. The deepfakes are possibly one of the more serious offenses. They're ones that, frankly, are quite bad. And they're ones that they're taking seriously. Once again, there was a big controversy, the nth room issue, and people were punished very harshly for this. And this is a very serious topic in Korea right now. They take it very seriously, and that's why the Women's and Juveniles District was handling it. One of the reasons, because deep fakes are important. Now, I say deep fakes because we now have confirmed there's at least 2 deep fakes that they're touching here. And what that means is that this can give the maximum penalty under the statute, which is 10.5 years. So Johnny can get Ramsey can get the maximum penalty for under the deepfake statute of 10.5. That's open and on the table because there are multiple deepfakes and not just one. So that is actually really good news about that that we have revealed from this. Once again, bombshell leaks. Any one of these things would be worth an entire stream. Okay, here's the deepfake timeline. And this timeline is important because this timeline shows the utter incompetence, both of Hank and of the paid lawyer. If the paid lawyer was worth his salt, he would have gotten this stuff together. But because both the paid lawyer and Hank screwed up wildly, they actually made a fool of themselves. And actually, we on this channel helped make a fool of them because they completely misunderstood this process. So let me explain this to you. On February 18th, the Songpa police referred the case to the prosecutor. So we had that. We also had Ramsey leaking the referral notice on the 7th. So that's when he showed the paper. That was on the 7th. Okay. That was a big leak, which we covered immediately. And when I saw that, I said, oh, he's in trouble. This is probably going to be a new charge. And everybody jumped on that, and we were absolutely right, 100%. 100%. And then on March 25th, the Eastern District prosecutor indicted Ramsey. And as soon as that indictment was merged into the Western District on the 27th, your boy Legal Mindset informed everybody about it. So I told everybody immediately on the 27th when this was merged into the Western District, because that means it was part of the active case. And Ramsey flipped out about it. And Ramsey met with the lawyer, and Ramsey and Hank said, hey, people said we're indicted on this. People means me. They were watching my stream. By the way, I know who the one dislike is. It's Johnny, right? The one dislike on my stream is always Johnny. And then the second one is Hank, right? They were flipping out, and they asked the lawyer. And on the 28th, their paid lawyer had no idea, because he had no idea about the merger into the West, into the active case in the West. It was only after, on April 1st, when the lawyer found out, because they met with Prosecutor R. Young. Remember Prosecutor R. Young, the top 10 prosecutor? Well, they met with that lawyer, and the lawyer's like, this is real. You were indicted. And so the lawyer figured out that he was wrong on the 28th. And in fact, he was indicted on the 27th when he met there. Ramsey, shortly after, goes radio silent. He stops streaming, goes silent. And on April 3rd, even Hank, even incompetent Hank, found out, because a copy of the indictment was delivered to Hank in both English and Korean. So in both English and Korean, they got that on the 3rd. So this is absolutely showing, I think, the incompetence of these people, because if they were competent, they would be able to follow these files. And Hank has all the capacity to follow this. Look, I'm not even Korean, and I'm able to follow this better than Hank or even Johnny's lawyer. How is that? Either one of his lawyers, right? That's not the highest level of competence. And that's certainly not the highest level of diligence. So Ramsey asked, can I go to jail for the deepfake? The lawyer said, unlikely, since you're an American. However, this lawyer is revealing how he doesn't know because there are several examples of Americans convicted and sentenced to prison for similar and less crimes. And in all of those cases, the defendants were highly cooperative with both police and prosecutors and respectful to the judge. They were not disrespectful, right? Like Johnny was. They were respectful, and they still got sentenced. Now, I'm going to show you just a little bit of this one. It's in Korean, so I'm just going to give you the overview. My Korean brothers and sisters can confirm, right, that this is what it is here. But we have some information here on a case. This is an American, right? And you can see here, let me zoom in, right? So you see Miguk here. Miguk is American, right? Miguk is American. This individual was charged with both an obstruction of business as well as an Information Act crime. Once again, two charges, right? One obstruction, one Information Act, a digital related crime, not even a sexual crime, just a digital crime. It's kind of an access crime. He's American. This is America right here, Miguk, right? Right here where my cursor is, right? Boop, right? So, and this is the crazy thing too. Look when this case started, 2016, right? Look how long it went from 2016 to 2018 to 2018. So all of this information that Americans can't go to jail for crimes in Korea is absolutely insane. It's inaccurate, right? Just because they don't go often doesn't mean that they don't go. And by the way, spending 2 years at trial in Korea is effectively a prison sentence. So on the deepfakes, these deepfake charges, according to the records, which we have leaked, and we have this information leaked and confirmed, there are multiple victims on the deepfakes. So remember how Johnny was talking about getting out of this by having a settlement with Bong Bong? He talked about that publicly. That's something he said. Well, it wouldn't matter whether he has a settlement with anybody because he's got multiple victims. There's the female victim and there's the male victim, at least one male victim, which will be Jungman, who's specifically named, right? And there's probably more victims, the Korean streamers. So we have multiple victims. This is why this gets to be taken at the highest level of the statute. So the law is at the highest punishment, 10.5 years, because there's multiple charges, multiple people, multiple deepfakes, multiple people that are harmed. There's a long discussion which was had between Hank and Johnny and the lawyer. They really disagree with the deepfake law. And they say, oh, the deepfake law is too broad. It's too powerful. Because you know how Hank is. Hank is like, oh, it's too feminist, it's too this and that. And Hank is moaning and crying about the deepfake law. Well, guess what? Disagreement with a law isn't a defense. And it is going to be almost impossible for this to get overturned by the Supreme Court of Korea, right? If you disagree with the law and you want to appeal the law itself as unconstitutional, that would take years to process through. And it is highly unlikely they're going to win. Johnny Somali is the least sympathetic plaintiff out there, period. So that saying, I don't like the law, doesn't matter. And here's why they don't like it. And here's why they're really hurting here. So Hank refers to the female victim as the B word, and that's on audio. Now, I don't, you know what? I'm not going to play. I have that, but I'm not sure which one that is. Let me actually play two of the audios related to the deepfakes here. I don't think this is the one with that, but let's play this one. First, this is they can't put an American in jail. I want to show you guys that. Once again, I want to make sure you guys see this and see that what I'm saying is true and it's backed up by evidence of what they were saying. So here's they can't put an American in jail quote.
How does that? They can't put an American in jail.
I'm so glad they moved down to it.
So he's claiming they can't put an American in jail. We just showed you an example of where they indeed put an American in jail. So that's not a thing, at all whatsoever. All right, here's another one. This is a longer clip. I believe this is about the deep fake. So let's watch this one.
The only reason I had to mute guys is for legal reasons. I don't want to tell you guys the strategy. You know what I mean? I can't. You know what I mean?
Sorry, Johnny. We actually know the complete strategy, and because of leaks, because of leaky leaks, we know everything you're doing. So big L there. Let's continue.
Let's just say the lawyer don't think that serious. Let's just say, you know what I mean? That's why I'm smiling right now. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good.
It's cocky.
So Hank, how like don't say too much about the strategy, but tell them, what does the lawyer feel about this?
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the law itself is also ridiculous because it just says embarrassment. It does not specify it.
That actually, so this is the part that I think really stands out, is that Hank is saying the law is ridiculous, but you thinking the law is ridiculous has nothing to do with whether the law is enforceable or not. You can think the law is ridiculous, but guess what? You're still responsible for following the law, right? You still have to follow laws, even if you don't agree with them. That's the way the law works. The law works in a way in which if you are disobeying the law, right, you're guilty, right? Whether or not you like it or disagree with it or hate it, you've got to follow the law. And Hank doesn't realize that. So he calls the female victim a B. We have video. I don't have that today, but we do have video of that. There's no settlement with the female victim. And even if there was a settlement, it's not a defense. Ramsey's strategy, think about this, guys. His strategy was to blame the victim, to blame and pressure the female victim in order to protect himself. This is highly offensive to the prosecution. And do you know why Ramsey was afraid that the prosecutor was a woman? Probably because he's planning to blame a female victim of a deepfake crime, and to try to, in his words, Uno reverse it on her. So this is actually some language from Korean law. So let me just read this for you guys. Settlements are a manner of reaching sincere reconciliation. Focus on the word sincere. It's supposed to involve remorse and reflection between the defendant and the victim. Settlements are not a mechanism intended to solely reduce or eliminate punishment. The court takes into consideration victim settlements when the settlement is clearly authentic and sincere, and if it's sincere, can be mitigating. However, when there is evidence that the defendant thinks he can avoid punishment by falsely reflecting on their actions, it can be an aggravating factor. So what that means is, because Johnny is using this as a strategy to get out of trouble, and he is insincere, just like he was insincere in Japan, that actually will make his punishment and his sentencing worse. It's Uno reverse on him. Okay, guys. We have something we've been waiting for, and something that all of you helped do. So thank you. We have this. The Lotte World charges. This is one of the things that brought me into this. We have confirmation that they were looking into what went down at Lotte World and Jamshil and Seoul. We thought they weren't going to get involved. They were going to stay out of it. They were not going to get involved. Actually, they've brought not one, but there's two potential charges from Lotte World. Two. The first one is kind of your basic pumpkin spice latte charge. The next one is extra crispy. Real extra crispy. Let's continue here. Obstruction of business by Lotte World. It's coming. Now, let's be clear. The Lotte World obstruction charge is likely the obstruction charge that was merged in March. So that's likely the one we saw merged in already. So that likely was Lotte World. We didn't know what it was, and now we know it's probably Lotte World, which is awesome because we thought they weren't going to get involved. And his behavior was so disgusting and obscene at Lotte World. It was nuts. It was absolutely crazy. You guys called in. You sent letters. You pushed. You sent letters to the police, to Lotte, and I think that may have pushed it over the top. So really, to you guys, to the fans out there, to the Koreans, to the Americans, thank you for pushing those charges at Lotte World. What happened at Lotte World? He was disruptive. He ran around yelling and screaming, intentionally not listening to anyone there. He defied their orders. He snuck in cameras. He didn't listen to anybody or anything. He was unsafe. He filmed children, and you guys got obstruction here. And the big thing, which I said at this point, is per se, which means pretty much automatic obstruction, was he stopped a ride. A ride had to be stopped for him. And that is automatic, like what is called per se, which is pretty much automatic obstruction. So when a business has to shut down because of you, that is clear obstruction of justice. It's the clearest case. It's textbook. You don't need any more evidence than that stopped. And I was frustrated because I thought this might never come. I honestly was like, where's Lotte World? Are they just giving up? Do they not care? Right? They care.